Not to overly complicate this, there's two kinds of 360 video. There's mono and stereoscopic video. Monoscopic is very simple, basically. You see, basically Samsung's got a camera which has got 8 lenses dotted around it, and there's a number of Kickstarter campaigns for cameras, and basically it just films in all directions. And then some software stitches that together to effectively create a sort of, think of it as you putting a sort of a fishbowl over your head, and you can look anywhere around in the fishbowl. But it's flat, it's 2D. So you can't get any impression of depth, which is fine for sort of landscapes and sort of slow moving action, but it isn't great for sort of, say, sporting events where you want that depth, which is what you get with the stereoscopic. And as you might imagine, those cameras are more complex because you need basically the number of cameras you had before for 360, but you need one for each eye. So you're doubling up the amount of cameras. But the actual cameras now are down to $200 to $300 for consumer ones, $1,000 for sort of semi-pro ones. And you can rent rigs from companies like Jaunt for professional filming at 4K, 60 frames per second, for a reasonable amount that certainly production companies would recognise as being reasonable, even if consumers wouldn't. The main one is not being in the shot. The reason that a lot of these cameras now come with sort of a pole that you put in the ground is, sort of you want to start filming and then you want to get out of the shot. Because fundamentally, if it's a fishbowl, you should be able to see your feet, but you don't want to see your face looking at you when you turn around. It's like, oh my God, there I am. So it's getting out of the shot, and also, I know storage issues are getting less and less as we get more and more dense memory, but as you can imagine, multiple lenses, multiple frames, multiple shots, the storage requirement of these cameras compared to traditional cameras gets fairly hefty fairly quickly, particularly if you're filming in HD or 4K. So you've got to get that stored and stitched together in a fairly meaty system somewhere. It's an interesting one. The great advantage you have with 360 filming is, once you've got that camera, you can just record hours of footage. So I can get a camera today and there can be 360 videos up tomorrow, either mono or stereoscopic 360 videos. So the production time is nothing. We were saying one of the problems with gaming was it's 3 years to develop a game. You don't have that with video. So 360 video is instantaneous. It's something anybody can do. And you don't need a sophisticated VR headset to view it, but you need something like Google Cardboard to get a real feeling for it. You can look on your web browser, but it's not really the same. So it promotes that ecosystem of the headset being useful for something other than those games which aren't quite there yet. We look at sort of where the content revenue is going to come from consumers down the line. And we think, obviously, early on, people buying the Vive or the Rift or the PlayStation VR, they're heavy spenders on gaming. So the gaming will start off as a fairly big market for that small install base. But we think that over time, a more mass market usage for all these people who are getting their mobile headsets will be 360 video or VR video. And everybody will consume a bit of that, whereas not everybody might want to play a rescuing a space station game. So ultimately, we see that market is going to top out at about $8 billion by 2020 for 360 and VR video, which is higher than gaming will be. So it will eclipse that market. And a lot of it will be driven by some of the pay TV providers. Pay an extra £1 a month and you can have some 360 footage from the ground, or you can go in the locker room at halftime and listen to the pep talk in 360. So that is a much bigger market than trying to convince people to put a headset on to play games for 3 or 4 hours.